Welcome back to Vilmorin with Khali. As you can see by the title of this video, we're gonna get into the Paris Fashion Week menswear and haute couture looks. So these are like my top 10 or the ones that we really need to talk about. So let's get into it. So first up we have Vuitton with Haute Couture. This show was so breathtaking, as if we had not seen enough greatness this season. Vuitton celebrated the 10-year anniversary of the fashion house with a couture show called Time Today. The show, as he puts it, was a reflection on why he's been doing it for so long, why he still wants to keep doing it, and for how long he's still going to continue. He says the only way to make time meaningful is to enjoy the time you have on earth, and that we've got to live in the moment. In this garment, a tight-fitted bodice embroidered in pink cherry blossoms, one said it was intended to be interpreted as spring, and that in the Chinese philosophy, flowers are beautiful because they aren't meant to be forever. If they blossom forever, people wouldn't see the beauty in them. The decay of beauty is shown throughout the collection. Time's erosion on every living thing was rendered by visible burns on the hems. The four final looks represented skin, flesh, bone, and soul in a way that progressively stripped away both physical and spiritual. He ended off by saying the soul isn't meant to perish, but it goes back to the universe. Victor and Rolf went down the memory lane with this collection this season. This collection silhouette were based on the mushroom cloud shape of an atomic bomb explosion. They mentioned how the shapes were very graphic, exaggerated, and absurd. Couture is an exaggeration and abstractism. We see geometric 3D shapes, exaggerated triangles, spheres, and rectangular sleeves. This show was more for the viewer to give it meaning and not the other way around. They prefer the viewer to interpret it in their own way and let their mind wander and have free associations. I'm interested to know, how did you interpret this collection? What would you think? What's the first thing that went to your mind when you saw all these shapes that encompass the body? Yeah, let me know in the comments down below. Armani Prive. This show was centered around the white pearl, which is a symbol of purity and wisdom across cultures. According to Vogue Runway, the pearl reference translated as a lustrous suiting with a touch of soft sharpness. We also see black velvet tailoring, pearl buttons, usually paired with flats, which gave the timeless shape a more modern look. My favorite part was the headpiece with the big pearl on the side. That was definitely a look. It just looks so... I want one for myself. Before we have Schiaparelli. This was an iconic show. Let's get into it. Daniel Roseberry explains, I wanted people to feel the collection was referencing a different time, and there was something about the 50s that felt so fresh and simple. You'll find homages to those silhouettes. The 1950s are seen as the epitome of haute couture, so this is of course very fitting. This collection highlighted the brand's attention to detail more than anything. Just with the first look already, the wings as a cape, Roseberry explained that the silver embroidery was arranged to look like gleaming feathered wings. The cups of this bustier pink dress was in fact inspired by a hat Elsa once made. I especially enjoyed the look with the white spiked coat along with the headpiece. That was definitely a moment for me. Next up is Thom Browne. This collection had 48 looks using up to 6 different types of muslin. There are of course so many layers to a Thom Browne show. This one in particular was inspired by the Olympics, with the gold bullion embroiders of athletes on an hourglass jacket. The bronze, silver, and gold touch completed the look. I love how this collection made you consider connections between elite athletes and couture. The hair was also a moment and gave the whole collection such edge. Next we have KidSuper with menswear. I enjoyed this so much. This season, KidSuper collaborated with Cirque du Soleil. This was the first time City S did a collaboration capsule collection with a performance integrated. Throughout the whole show, the models walked with a giant prop hand above them attached with strings and mimicking a puppet. In the show, we see tailoring printed with mannequins and pencil sketches of acrobats. There was also KidSuper streetwear with patched jean shorts, crystal-studded jeans, a face collage, varsity jacket, and of course the Puma collab caps. This show showcased so many different elements of KidSuper and Cirque du Soleil. They did it so well. I think my favorite look from this collection was definitely the dress with the clown ruffs. That was such a great play on the whole circus theme. And yeah, it all came together so well. Next is of course Louis Vuitton with Pharrell's Menswear. It was a homage to human beings Pharrell mentioned after his impactful menswear show. The blue, green and black was based on a pattern used in luggage created for Air Afrique, a pan-continental airline that operated in the 1960s to 2002. The garments went from black to dark brown, brown, light brown, beige and finally white, with the model's skin tone changing progressively with the outfits. He goes on to say, the intention here is not to be so loud, but to be very intentional in the details. We live in a culture that zooms in and out, so I wanted to be that when you zoom in, the stitch and fabric is unlike anything you've seen or felt before. And when you zoom out, you understand that we love the world. I definitely enjoyed the small details in this collection, especially the patchwork jacket that I already featured in my previous video. If you haven't already, please do check it out. This collection was all around luxury, unity and perspective. Next is of course Charles de Vilmorin with Haute Couture. The show was impeccable, so impactful. They described the concept as a moonless night. There has been a murder, there are no witnesses and no one is innocent. He mentioned the first look as death and the rest followed various personalities. He also mentioned in the interview how this was the first time he had done a collection without questioning himself. It was simply for the sake of storytelling. I love that. I really enjoyed watching this one. You can definitely tell how much he loves Haute Couture, as he has mentioned in so many interviews. The silhouettes were very much unique and the use of color, draping and texture portrayed the concept very well. I also loved how there were so many different moments within the show. If you have time, you should definitely go check out that show. It's like a whole performance, just like the KidSuper one with the circus thing. The models were basically acting out all those emotions, all those personalities, showing the fabrics in detail. It was a whole show, so if you have time, check out the whole show. Next we have Nicholas Daley. This one was so sweet. I genuinely enjoyed watching this one. This season was focused on Jamaican folklore with history of West Africa to the Caribbean. This one was so special because he draws so much of his inspiration from his family, his upbringing, and his cultural heritage, which is both nostalgic and forward-thinking. This is one of my favorite collections from this season's menswear. It feels so genuine how he paid homage to his roots. One of his looks was actually inspired by a handmade sweater that his mother made him when he was young. This was definitely a full circle moment. And last but not least, we have Ashi Studio. Ashi is a Paris-based designer who has been building their clientele for the past 15 years. This collection is called Sculpted Clouds and featured both poetic and graceful silhouettes. It's focused on a lost world between a reality and a dream. He also mentions that an imaginary plane let him focus on his obsession with architecture and sculpture while also exploring a state of transition. This collection had a very romantic feel to it while exploring texture and technique. And that makes the end of our video where we saw both menswear and haute couture. This was just literally a drop in the ocean of what happened at Paris Fashion Week. There's so much that happened. There's so many beautiful shows, so many amazing stories that were told. I hope you learned just as much as I did with these shows. There were so many amazing stories, concepts, fabric, techniques. There's just so much that happened at Paris Fashion Week. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more. And I'll see you in my next video.